Welcome back to the Linux Academy Nginx Deep Dive. In this video, we're going to continue looking at using Nginx's reverse proxy, but this time we're going to be looking at how it relates to fastCGI. fastCGI is a binary protocol for exchanging data, and by binary protocol, that just means that the data is formatted in such a way that it's better for machines to read it than it is for us, but there are a lot of key value pairs, essentially, that it's going to package up the information into and send it across the wire, so two fastCGI compatible applications can speak to one another. PHP is one of the most popular web programming languages that exists. It's what runs WordPress, which is what we're going to be utilizing in this particular video. And unlike something like an Apache, there is no way for Nginx itself to process PHP. It doesn't do that. That's not its job. So we need to have something separately that's going to handle running the PHP processes. And for us, that's going to be the PHP FPM package. And depending on the operating system you're using and the means you want to go about doing this, what you actually install can be named something wildly different. In this particular case, we're going to pull it from the CentOS release SCL repository that we're going to add. And it's going to have kind of a long name for when we're working with it. But at the core, though, we want the newest version of this. We want at least PHP FPM 7.0 because it is really fast in comparison to PHP FPM 5.5. So for this video, we're going to set up the LEMP stack, the Linux, Nginx, MySQL, or MariaDB in our situation in PHP. Starting off, we're going to install PHP FPM, and we're going to do so by yum install -y CentOS release SCL. So this will give us another repository to pull from. And this is the software collections repository. And we're going to do a yum update before we continue here. And the things that we're actually going to install are going to be the Red Hat -PHP 7.1 PHP. Then another Red Hat -PHP 7.1 -PHP -FPM. As you can kind of see, these names are rough, and the last one is going to be Red Hat RH PHP 7.1 PHP MySQL ND. With those installed, we have what we need set up for the actual PHP FPM side of things, but we need to make some modifications to configuration because we want Nginx to be able to talk to our PHP FPM process using a socket. So what we're going to do there is we have to adjust that it's listening to a socket instead of on a port, and then we're going to change who owns the particular socket to be Nginx, both user and group. To get to that, and this will be quite a bit different depending on how you've installed PHP FPM, but if you're following along, it's going to be in etc opt rh php php-fpm.d and then the www.conf file. So going through this file, we're going to change the user to be Nginx, the group to be Nginx. And then on this listen one here, there are a couple different things you can do. You can listen on an IP address and a port, which is what it's doing right away. Or we can have this changed to be listening on a socket. And we're going to have it changed to listen at var run php-fpm.sock. And then the last thing we need to change is going to be right here. We have a listener, or the listen owner and the listen group. And these are both going to be Nginx. So we'll change user group, listen.user, and listen.group, and then also the listen directive, or not directive, really speaking Nginx to you now, the listen setting to be going to var run php fpm. We can save this, and with that, we're ready to systemctl start rh php 7.1 php fpm. And then we'll do the exact same thing with enabling it to make sure that when we start up our cloud server again, that this will already be running. With PHP installed, we're going to work on setting up the database next. And to do this, we're going to pull from another repo, but we're going to write out the repo file for this and get MariahDB directly from mariahdb.org. So let's go and create a new file in etc yum repos.d mariahdb.repo. And this is going to have MariahDB. And then the name will be MariahDB. The base URL is going to be http://yum.mariahdb.org 10.2. And then CentOS 7-AMD64. We're going to set up a GPG key that's going to be at https://yum.mariahdb.org rpm-gpg-key-mariahdb. And then lastly, we're going to do a GPG check of 1. So we can save this, do a yum update. And now we want to install a few things. We're going to run both a server, and then we also need the client, and then we need the developer libraries and the shared libraries. So we're going to do yum install -y MariahDB, and it's capitalized in this very specific way, -server, which is no caps, and then MariahDB client, MariahDB devel, and MariahDB shared. Once everything is installed, we can use systemctl to start MariahDB, and then we will also enable that. And then we have a couple more steps that we're going to go through just to finish this off, but the first one is going to be MySQL secure, and then we should be able to just tab complete this. So it'll be MySQL_secure_installation. And we don't currently have a root password. So we're going to enter a new one. It's going to be whatever you want it to be, as long as you remember it. And then we're going to remove the anonymous users. We're going to disable remote root login, and then remove the test databases. And then we'll reload privileges. So we've just roughly secured our database there. And to make things a little bit easier for us moving forward, we're going to go ahead and sign into this as the root user. So using the password we had just created, then we're going to create a database using create database WordPress. And then we're going to grant all privileges on WordPress ** to WP user at localhost identified by, and then I'm going to make the password p@SSW0RD. We want to flush privileges, and then we're ready to quit. So what we're doing right there is we're creating the database that we're going to use. Then we are creating a user called WP user and granting it complete access to that database. And then we're flushing the privileges to make sure that that is picked up. We have the entire LEMP stack set up. So we have Linux, Nginx, MariahDB, and PHP, but now we need our application. So we're going to be using just a bare bones WordPress application for this. We're going to be placing our WordPress application in var www. So we're going to create a directory for it first. It's going to be at var www blog.example.com. And then we're actually going to populate that by using wget to pull in the source code. And this command is a little bit big, but if you want to copy it from the documentation down below, you can totally do that, or you can just follow along with what I'm typing on the screen. But we're going to pull from http://wordpress.org latest tar.gz. Then we're going to pipe that to tar, give it xzf, and then we're going to output that to var www.blog.example.com. And now if we look inside of var www.blog example.com, we're just going to see the raw PHP files that we need. And what we need to do now is create our configuration. So we're going to cp var www blog example.com wp config.sample to just not have the -sample on it. So we can use some more shell expansion here by doing that. And now we're going to change this to be owned by Nginx. And we need to modify that particular configuration file. So if we vim var www blog wp-config.php, we're going to look for a few things. So we know the database name is going to be WordPress. Whoops. The database user is going to be WP user. The database password is p@ssw0rd. And then the host is going to be localhost. There is another section down here that we need to pay attention to, though, and that is going to be all of these salts and keys. Thankfully, if we look at the documentation just above here, it'll tell you that if we go to https API wordpress.org secret key salt, we take this and we open a new browser and we paste that, it'll actually generate the PHP that we need. So we're going to come in here and take this completely randomized chunk of information and copy it. Then we can come in and set Vim to paste mode, just to make sure that everything works. And paste that right in. And it didn't pull in the auth key for us, so we need to go back and grab that. And we'll delete these original lines. And now we have a more secure configuration. We can save that file and quit. In this video, we set up the web application using PHP and PHP FPM so that we can demonstrate how to use a reverse proxy that is speaking fast CGI in the next video.